Our undercover cameraman, Yasser, has been filming for us at great risk. He and his network are trying to reveal the other side of our close ally. Saudi Arabia doesn't allow tourists, and they don't allow journalists to operate without minders. So we're flying into Riyadh as businessmen after setting up a fake company. We're taking secret cameras to record our trip. When we get to passport control, there's a bad moment. The border guard looks directly at our hidden camera.
Wow. Together. Wow. Off glass. What's this? Sorry.
Now we're in Saudi Arabia. All filming we do is forbidden. Our cover story is that we're here for a business conference. On the way, we visit one of Saudi Arabia's most notorious landmarks, known as Chop Chop Square. It's the scene of many of Saudi Arabia's public punishments, and there's a heavy police presence. It has drainage for the blood from the executions. Two Westerners in the middle of Chop Chop Square inevitably raise suspicion. We're going to a cyber security conference, representing CyberSafe UK, a company we've set up for this trip. We've been placed right next to the Ministry of Interior, the very people who arrest activists like Raif Badawi. And we're approached by two senior police officers.
Good morning. Hello, Sam. Nice to meet you. Aziz, how are you?
Hello.
How are you?
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
So CyberSafe UK.
Yes.
Okay.
We're a cyber insurance company. Is it a threat also for Saudi businesses?
Yes.
And what's your cyber insurance?
This man is head of cyber security for the Saudi police. He's keen to talk about his connections to Britain and America.
It's a very good experience, honestly, with the Phoenix Police Academy.
Yeah, amazing. So a lot of senior Saudi police will go to America for training.
Yes. And also I had 3 training courses in UK.
Tough.
Yeah.
British police officers.
Oh my God.
The British government has been reluctant to make public details about its contract to train the Saudi police. But now we are hearing about it from 2 officers who've been through the training.
And was that the British government or was it private?
And we take College of Police.
College of Police.
Brighton. Coventry. Wow. And they know what we need.
Did they send a lot of people to England?
Yeah. We have contract with the Ministry for Interior and the government. I think the embassy here has contract because they are tourists and they do long-term training.
Yeah, there's a close relationship.
Yeah, close.
The British government has since confirmed to us they have provided more than 300 Saudi officers with training since December 2012. Despite some reforms in education, employment and politics in recent years, women still don't have the same legal rights as adult men. Women can't drive and struggle to perform many simple tasks, such as going to the doctors without a male guardian. In some cases of abuse, the authorities do act, but if a woman is the victim and tries to report it, the police may tell her she needs a male relative to file a complaint.
This is a tribal society, and it's been kept this way. Violence is a symptom of the position of women in a society because it reflects how people view the roles of women. The philosophy of the government is to keep the control of the man, or the power of the father, basically. So violence is used as a disciplinary way or a controlling way.
But some women in Saudi Arabia are starting to fight back. One woman has become the figurehead for the new women's rights movement. It's to meet her that we've come to Saudi. Lujain Hathlul is Saudi Arabia's most prominent women's activist, a constant thorn in the side of the regime. She uploaded videos of herself driving as part of a campaign to change the ban against it.
أهلين معكم لجين الهذلول. أنا الآن في طريق الغويفات بحاول أقطع الحدود السعودية من هناك ونشوف وش يصير.
Moments after this was filmed, Lujain was arrested trying to enter Saudi Arabia. She was imprisoned for 73 days without trial. Eventually, she was released, but she is banned from traveling, and she says she still has terrorism charges against her. Despite the risk, she is still happy to meet us. She may be under surveillance, so we have to meet her in a secret location.
I've been threatened since the beginning. My car was broken. I almost got beaten up just because of the campaign. People wrote me letters on Facebook and sent me all sorts of weapon pictures, saying that if I continue, I would be murdered or my family harmed.
Lujain's campaign sparked a debate inside Saudi Arabia. To some women, she became a hero. To the more conservative elements, a hate figure.
I try to represent their rights. Some of them don't believe that it's their own rights. They refuse it, they reject it. But I believe that they're imprisoned in their own old raising, their old mindset, or they just fear freedom.
Although banned from activism, Lujain hasn't stopped campaigning. She's registering as a candidate in the 2015 municipal elections, the first in which Saudi women can participate.
سجلت خلاص؟
سجلت. It's scary. I'm not saying it's not scary, but I'm continuing. I am not stopping. I'm stepping, shaking while stepping, yes, but I'm not giving up.
We'd managed to meet a Saudi activist without being detected by the security forces. But when we get back to the hotel, there's a shock. The fake company website we've set up has been hacked.
That's pretty dark. I think we get out.
We don't know who's testing our cover story, but we're forced to leave early and head straight to the airport.
We hope that there's no travel ban on our passports.
If we're discovered, we know we'll be arrested. We'd got out, but Yasser is still filming inside. One of his network is driving to a region that's witnessed serious unrest and the first signs of potential cracks in Saudi rule. The east of Saudi Arabia is where most of the Shia Muslim minority live. He's come to meet the family of a boy who has been condemned to death, aged just 17. Ali Nimr's punishment marked the beginning of what activists say is a dangerous new phase for the Saudi regime.
علي النمر شاب عربي مثل أي شاب آخر من شباب العرب، يحلم بالحرية، يحلم بالعزة، بالكرامة.
In 2011, Ali Nimr was a schoolboy who joined in street protests inspired by the Arab Spring. Young Shia men hit the streets in unprecedented numbers in a country where protests are illegal. As the days passed, the confrontations with the security forces became more intense. The Saudi police reacted to the protesters with bullets. Scenes like this have raised questions about Britain's contract to train Saudi police. Protests sprung up in other parts of the country, and activists like our cameraman Yasser sensed weakness in the regime for the first time.
خلاص يعني جاءت اللحظة اللي خلاص احنا نتغلب على هؤلاء المستبدين اللي عشرات السنين استبدوا فينا واستعبدونا يعني. كانت خيبة أمل كبيرة يعني بعد الوقوف هذا. كان شعور جدا مخيب مخزي.
Eventually, after tens of protesters were killed and many more arrested, the regime succeeded in putting down the uprising.
اطلق تعال. دانا هنا أنا دانا هنا. هذا بيتي شوف.
Ali recorded his anger at the police's reaction in this confrontation outside a police station. Soon after this was recorded, Ali was arrested. He was charged with numerous
اتصل علي من الرياض، سمحوا له بالاتصال وقال أن هناك أوراق في المحكمة وفيها حد الحرابة. علي طفل صغير سألني بابا إيش حد الحرابة؟ علي سألني إيش حد الحرابة بابا؟
The punishment for treason is beheading, followed by being publicly crucified. But some felt Ali was being punished because of this man. Sheikh Nimr was Ali's uncle. He was seen as the spiritual leader of the protests.
نحن على امتداد 100 عام نعيش ظلم وجور وخوف وترهيب. لا نخاف الموت ونعشق الشهادة.
طبعا صعب يعني ليلي ونهاري الذكرى ما يغيب عن بالي. على طول ذكر علي موجود في بالي، على طول لساني يلهج بالدعاء إليه، بالفرج إليه. أشياء كثيرة في البيت تعني لي علي، كل البيت أصلا يعني لي علي.
The British government says it has lobbied to spare Ali the death penalty. But in September 2015, Ali's death sentence was confirmed, with no more chance to appeal. In the same week, it was revealed Saudi Arabia was made the chair of a UN Human Rights Council panel of experts. Ensaf, the wife of Raif Badawi, the blogger sentenced to 1,000 lashes, is in Strasbourg to collect an award on his behalf. It's good for her campaign, But the review of Raif's case in the Saudi courts has not gone well.
رايف اتنقل إلى سجن تاني، السجن الثاني هذا اللي نقل فيه ما يكون فيه إلا شخص منتهي. كان خبر جدا سيء. أنا قلقانة كتير على صحة رايف.
In response to his appeal being denied, she says Raif has begun a hunger strike.
خبرتهم إنه نقل سجن جديد بس ما خبرتهم إنه منقطع عن الطعام. حرام يعني أولادي تعبوا من كتر ما هم يتلقوا أخبار، يعني حرام سنهم فقدوه بسبب إنهم يتلقوا أخبار أكبر من سنهم. مجرد ما إني أشوف أولادي كمان يعطوني القوة، يعطوني كمان الأمل. المعاكس للموضوع رايف إنه بعيد عن أولاده، الحكم اللي صدر ضده كان حكم كتير قاسي.
For more than 70 years, Saudi Arabia has been Britain and the West's key ally in the Arab world. The government says they've kept us safe by sharing intelligence and helping us fight terrorism and foil attacks.
A very, very nice decision.
Since David Cameron's government came to power, we've sold Saudi Arabia more than £5 billion of weapons.
Saudi Arabia has been a very important partner. We've got our oil from them, we've sold weapons technology to them, and they have been an ally in providing intelligence about low-level al-Qaeda activities. But there's an irony there, and that is because actually the al-Qaeda stems from an extreme interpretation of Wahhabi Salafism, which is the official religion of Saudi Arabia, and which they've been spreading around the world since 1979. So there's an ambivalence to that relationship.
The Saudis have spent at least $70 billion spreading Wahhabi Islam around the world. But they've always denied any official link to terrorism, and are now preparing to send troops in to fight against ISIS in Syria. And on the 2nd of January 2016, they announced the execution of 47 men for terrorist offences in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia says it has executed 47 people.
It was the largest mass execution since 1980.
Shia cleric Nimr al-Nimr.
Whilst many were convicted al-Qaeda terrorists, several others were political activists. Ali Nimr was spared for now, but his uncle, the Shia cleric Sheik Nimr, was executed. This new footage, smuggled out by Yasser's network in the last few weeks, shows how his execution has sparked the first major protests in the East since the Arab Spring.
أنا شخصياً أعتبر أن السيف مسلط على رقبته. يتوقعون أن تكون هناك ارتدادات، يتوقعون أن يكون هناك فلتان في الشارع. فما بالك لو لا سمح الله أقدموا على الإعدام.
I mean, the execution of Sheikh Nimr is a signal that the Saudis were sending not to the Shia only, but to all dissidents, secular and Islamic. They will not tolerate any dissent because they are viscerally opposed to sharing power.
The executions have clearly had an effect on the activists we've been filming. Yasser has now been working undercover for 6 months, every day risking arrest. But he tells us that after the executions, the situation has become too risky to continue.
James, ما أقدر أكمل. أخوياي كلهم اعتقلوهم، والكلمة اللي شافوها عندي بيقولون عني إرهابي، والناس ما مبسوطين أبد. الحين عرفنا حقة ملك.
The elections, billed as a great advance for women's rights, went ahead. But women's activist Lujain Hathlul was missing from the ballot.
Definitely, yeah. I'm a troublemaker for them. That's why they don't really it's the case of me being a very vocal person about human rights or women's rights.
Unfortunately, the religious establishment is not really aligned with any of the economic, social, or best interests of the 30 million people living in Saudi Arabia. Their needs and best interests and voices should be heard. And it will continue to be an issue for the people and for the political system until it's resolved. It's not going to go away because people are being imprisoned or even executed.
A year since Raif Badawi was publicly flogged, he's still serving out his 10-year sentence. His wife Ensaf hasn't heard from him since the executions happened.
بصراحة يسألوا هم الفترة هذه كتير ليه بابا ما عاد يتصل. ما عندي جواب. لأنه ما بعرف. لأنه فعلا أنا ما بعرف ليه. كل الأخبار اللي نسمعها ما أحب أحكي عنها عشان ما يجي خلط في راسي، فما أحب إني أحكي عنها. أحب إنه دائما أنا مقتنعة قناعة تامة عن إنه كل اللي قاعد يصير مختلف عن قضية رايف تماما.
In response to the film, the Foreign Office told us,
"Only by working with Saudi Arabia can we bring about changes we would like to see. We regularly raise with them the importance of compliance with international law, including in the Yemen conflict. Senior Saudi leaders have condemned sectarianism and ISIS's ideology. Our police training undergoes strict assessment and is designed to improve human rights compliance of the Saudi justice system. Our arms sales are subject to one of the most robust export control regimes in the world. We are extremely concerned about Raif Badawi and have raised his case at very senior levels. The Saudi government has assured us that Ali Nimr will not be executed."
The Saudi government told us,
"The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia utterly rejects the partisan nature and sensationalist tone of this documentary, which sets out to portray the country in a negative and unbalanced light. The Kingdom's legal system is based on the due process of Islamic Sharia law. The Kingdom is at the forefront of international efforts to combat terrorism and will pursue anyone who supports and funds terrorist activity, and to suggest otherwise is a slur. In keeping with its biased agenda, ITV chose to undertake covert filming when they could have applied for and received a journalistic visa, like many of their counterparts."
Activists say they're being forced underground, but with the spread of phones and cameras, it has become impossible for the regime to control what the world sees.